What's up, guys? This video, as I'm driving and filming, we're going to talk about breaking the family abuse cycle. Every family has a kind of a cycle, right? Like whether it's like their worldview, projection is, a really underrated word. I think Jung talked about how it's like the most powerful term when it comes to how we act in relationships. And to the degree that that is true, we're always projecting, right? And in some way, and sometimes it's just having communication, even not even talking, is a projection. We are just energy shooting out of us, right? And in a family, that worldview, that parent, and this is the thing about if we're just talking about narcissistic family dynamics, like the inner child just historically and repetitively being destroyed at an early age by a toxic parent that had that happen to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't able to get their needs met. And so it's extremely difficult and this isn't I'm not trying to excuse it. It's, if you have kids, there's no excuse for certain things. They didn't ask to be here. Having said that, it's extremely difficult for somebody who didn't get certain needs to give them to their kids, like especially if it's a personality disorder. Like when I say that, it's like that's not true. The first part, it's the personality disorder that makes it difficult, because they're literally not able to look at themselves. They can't look at. There's so much pain. Again, I'm not excusing it, but anyway. Title of the video is how to stop it, right? Like, and I mean, it's more of a dialogue, more of a thought experiment about, again, I think I made a video about this a while back, but I think it's like I try and frame things when I'm not going crazy negative rant mode and I kind of have some kind of hope in my brain. I like to look at things with like a optimistic lens. So for example, if you're in a narcissistic family, to look at that as, why has that family lived on? Like, there is something to just savagery, like the Spartans raising, just like, go out there, and if you get killed, then you weren't meant to be. We're not gonna have weak blood in this family. And I swear that's a lot of narcissistic families. That's why there's so many. I would argue there's a higher percentage. There's impossible to, this is just intuition, this is my gut, but, I don't know how you'd ever judge this, because narcissism, I don't buy stats on narcissism. I don't buy when people talk about what percentage of the population. That's one of those ones I don't think people are, I don't think people are, anyway, for the sake of argument, I would argue a higher percentage of quote unquote successful families have narcissists. There's a higher percentage. To look at the population per capita, it's like what comes first, the cart or the horse when it comes to, like, for example, entertainment industry. Like, okay, were those people really successful and then that was something they wanted to do? Well, why does someone want to do that? A lot of entertainment businesses, people that weren't loved, and the external validation that is like such a draw. And so no wonder there's so much money and all that stuff in there, all the temptation and stuff. It's like you'd think it'd be fulfilling. But yeah, so like, are the successful people in entertainment there because they were narcissists, or and that's the thing, is like narcissism is like this. In a family, it's like one generation might have less, one might, like I would argue the millennials that's the best thing about us, is we're making these videos, we're very conscious to a detrimental degree often of mental health issues, and it can become, another manipulation to get attention, i.e. I have ASD, PTDB, DPP, PTDC, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you don't have a personality. That's what you don't have. You might have all those things, but what you definitely don't have is a personality. That's for sure. Thank you for clarifying. So, and there's nothing good about that. Disorders and language should be used to refine, not obscure. Got to refine what we're trying to say without ambiguity. And I don't know what the hell I'm talking about anymore. We're talking about family toxic, family. So yeah, that's the pragmatic, I guess, way, and I guess a way to look at it. Like, you got a toxic family, like maybe like why are they this way, and what would that person look like? That's what I try and say in my videos. When you're talking about somebody that you would like them to change, why do you want them to change? Is it for you or is it for them? And that is the trap. That is the hardest thing. That is the craziest thing that I couldn't even begin to look at looking at that personally, where it's like, you wanting to change someone and the idea behind that, like not letting go of wanting that to get that need met you didn't have met. And if a parent is really toxic, they know that, whether consciously or subconsciously, and use that against you. Those are the worst. Worst anybody, right? That know that you are willing to be abused for love. And use that for control and power against you. Instead of just giving you the thing you're asking for. Anyway, so yeah. And that's another thing about it, like, and no one, like, you'll never hear ever a family talk about this, because it's like, it's almost like envy, where no one outwardly says that unless they have like no shame. It's like, it should be a shamed thing. But families, they want to keep you stuck. Deep down, it's like they were abused, they had certain issues, and so they want to keep that going. It's like that's sick when they're like, we have this toxic thing in the family. It's neglectful, blinders, whatever it is. And it's like, by healing, not only do you wise up to them and their manipulation, but generational change is made. And that's the proof in the pudding moment. That's the proof is in the pudding moment, because who is someone, if they don't want their bloodline to do better, like they want to keep it what it is, toxic. They don't want to see. That's the deep down thing of the psyche, right? It's like, it's not that you're doing well, it's that what you are doing and how that makes them feel. The mirror often is the reason people don't want to look at themselves. Even family members. That's a hard pill to swallow. Family members that want the worst for you. Crazy. And now in this new world, I made a video about this before. in this new world that's not really real. It's whatever, but I don't know. I think about that. I think about that power I would gain from like, I'll show you. And now that's like toxic. And the more I say it, the more I'm like, maybe I'm reinforcing it when it's not really real. I don't know. Maybe it's just recent trauma of mine, and society keeping, I know it's not just me. That the meaning has been sucked out of reality. The meaning has been sucked out of society for men, for that drive that I'm gonna conquer. That conquer has been like something that's taken that away. Anyway, so that's my point, is that, yeah, that gun-ho-ness, like, I don't, that's another thing that's really confusing about like healing, is like being balanced is hard. I'd like to be being unbalanced can really get some stuff done. So it's, for me at least, it's hard to separate like, all right, this new version of me, balanced and more healthy, more at peace, but it's just like toxic. Like the unbalanced is like, we're gonna change the world. But then likely to burn out, which it did. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. Hope you guys have a good one. Hope this video wasn't too incoherent, but yeah, just talking about, family, toxic family systems, right? It's a lot easier to keep perpetuating it, and now I see family members having kids, and I just think that's gonna be very hard for me to watch if I ever talk to them again. I don't know if I could watch a nephew or a niece go through what I went through and what I saw. And that's the hardest thing, right? You can never tell someone how to raise their kids. There's another proof in the pudding moment. Why is it so triggering to parents if you say anything, you criticize a parent about their parenting? It's often because they know they're a bad parent. And it's a double whammy, because they're bad and they're a bad parent, and now their kids can be bad. That's why it was better when it was like the 80s and you could just kind of like raise kids, all the kids in the neighborhood, whatever, just like running around. And it's like, it was okay to like discipline other people's kids, because it was like, we kind of understand that there's like community. Now I'm just like, just pulled up in my driveway and my neighbor doesn't wave at me, and people are just mind their own business. No one wants to be inconvenienced. No one wants to put themselves out there. That's just always been a thing with neighbors, but I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm gonna go punch people in the face at boxing today. So have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.